All right, so we're getting started today. I'm learning how to do this, so remembering all the steps is one of my favorite things to figure out in the beginning stages of a project. So I'm starting to build my little backups. I made a little note of the different things I want to be able to pull up, like the links and what I want to be able to post. So we're just getting started. If you want your reading, you just want to put your birthplace. That's one of the things I forgot. Um, so your birthplace, location, time, and birth. So birth date, birthplace, time of birth, and pretty much it, location and date. So yeah, and I can just, well, you can let me know if it's in European. I do get some crossover here. So that is essentially it. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. And so yeah, so if you put that in there, then I can go ahead and pull it up. If you put it in the form that's pinned at the top of the chat, that will usually help us determine what's going on as well. So in the meantime, we'll just be checking out some charts and seeing what is up, what people are interested in knowing. This is a Western chart. This is the recent full moon on the 10th. And we talked about this a bit yesterday. So if you made it to the live reading yesterday, you've already heard some of this. If not, then um, this is really what we look at each moon transit, the full moon and the new moon. And so we're looking at a full moon in Capricorn here, which occurred in the gene keys at gene key 54. So that one is I did a full hour, well, probably not a full hour. I usually go at least 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes on my gene key transit videos because I'm trying to get in a few of the astrological components, but predominantly it's for the understanding of the energy and how Gene Keys is giving us a window into using the gift as a supportive energy for what we are creating. So that's what we're looking for in that one. Just checking on a couple of things. Here we go. That makes sense. Okay. So I'm just checking out a couple things to see. Then there is the the gene key chart here. So this one is the gene key chart. And if you do decide to go to put in your chart information into the form, if you can let me know here, it just makes it easier so I don't have to click between as many windows constantly. I can kind of focus on some information to share as well. So that helps. Just while I'm saying that, I'm just going to double check. And nothing's come in since I've been doing other things. So there we go. So yeah, so this is the gene key chart. So this is the one people have seen probably the least of. We have our life's work up at the top. We've got the evolution, the celebration, the purpose. And so all of us have our own ways of activating each of the pathways. So the green spheres are giving us an outline of the purpose pathway, purpose activation pathway. And so it's giving this understanding of how we are challenged, how we are breaking through into our ability to transcend a challenge, and then what makes it worth all of the things and what makes it meaningful, what ties us back into our purpose and the reason why we're here. And a lot of this is always all of this is ancient information and just of observation of humans and what it takes to create things on the planet for thousands of years. So really reflections of just who we are and our patterns of humanity and our patterns of creation. And so what we're really doing, if you do this work deeply with me in my vocal alchemy practice, then what we're really doing is looking for our own personal stories that have reflections or the truth or the wisdom that we have downloaded, embedded from our personal experience that correlates with this information. And it's really not necessarily something that we have to just accept full hog, or I don't know, all together, right? We can choose what parts that we are paying attention to, and what parts are we're keeping to have a reference of who we are and how we are creating. So that's some of the fun stuff that is possible when we learn more. Let's see, we use a lot of this to find our own vibrational essence. So we have work that we call signature vibration in my vocal alchemy process. And so what it does is it really helps us to tune into what those vibrations are and give us a really strong foundation of actual experience so that we can carry that into whatever we're building. So we're not just, you know, huh, it's not, I don't want to say like just improvising because improvising to me is powerful. It's what I'm doing now, even just by choosing what I want to say and what's appropriate and what can be useful without feedback, right? I'm just kind of channeling into what wants to come up. But essentially it's really about that we are able to refine ourselves, remember why we're here, remember and recall to the body as a felt sensation of being on purpose, which is to me the truth of confidence. If you know what's up and you know why you're there and you know it's worthy, then confidence is happening. And so we can entrain that as a truth within our body and experience that we can come back to whenever we choose once we've done that. So that's a lot of the great work of vocal alchemy, as we also learn to build containers of transformation and really safe spaces for ourselves and others is part of the work as well. So yay. So I'm looking forward to my first person who decides they want to do a reading for this evening. So if that is you, then go ahead and put your information in the chat or use the link for the form and let me know that you've sent the form over so that I can know if it's time to pull it up. I would love it to. Or if you just have questions about the different charts. This is the Gene Keys chart. And so basically you can choose between the charts. You can choose a Western astrology chart we just showed you. This is a Gene Key chart, or you can choose a human design chart. And then if you have a question, you can put that up in there right alongside it, okay? So I love that. I love that. Let's show the human design chart for a second. I'm always curious, like what people have had the most experience with. Of course, we have a lot of Western astrology people, just anybody who's interested in astrology probably has had a taste of Western. And then usually they move into the more complex from there, like a Vedic or Chinese or Tzolk'in. Gene Keys, human design is kind of the new I call it popular person in town, the new girlfriend in town. um, so if you have seen a human design chart, this is a body graph. They have they have a couple versions of a chart, but this is the one that's most common if you're getting a natal chart. And we have the planets on this side. So if you're familiar with the Western chart, you're seeing those same planets on both sides. So that what sometimes confuses people is that there's so many things happening. But really not that much. I mean, yeah, more, definitely more, because there's the 64 options of archetype instead of the 12. But the 12 are not just 12. Anybody who's kind of done the deep dive on astrology knows that the planets are reflections of the houses or the sun signs and the sun signs. So they're kind of building blocks of elements and characteristics of essentially the elements, the four elements. And if you know Chinese astrology, it's very similar. And the 64 comes from the I Ching, which is Chinese astrology, essentially. Okay. I'm sure there's better information around that. But it is using the same planetary resource to see where the points are that they're choosing these reflections, the 64 numbers and the six lines. So the points after the point, you have only six options after the point, but it's still like the maybe multiplication creates 386 options for each of these points in your chart, each of the signs, I'd say, not signs, but the planets representations in the chart. So we got this, we got Sun, Earth, North Node, South Node, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto on the personal side of the chart. And then we have that reflection also on the design side of the chart. So why? Why do we have two sets? Well, the personal side is at the time you're actually born, and the design side is when we are implanted with our crystal of humanity, so to speak. So when we've been implanted with our soul crystal or human design crystal is what they call it. Okay. So it's the timing of when we become in the body of it within the womb. So it's considered your true personality, your true design. And then the personality reflected outward is how people see you in your design. And so it can be really powerful depending on how you want to build. Like a lot of the elements in the gene keys is they're like kind of reflections of both. It's like a design and then the reflection of the personal. But it is kind of heavily, I don't want to say that and be wrong, but I feel that it's kind of weighted towards the design crystal, but I could be wrong. Um, and so, yeah, so there's that in the gene keys chart. So it is from coming from the same system of 64 of each gene. So it's giving us this beautiful reflection of what is possible, what is happening. So in the body graph, it's also giving us a perspective on the chakras, right? And how the chakras are playing a role in how we are processing the world in our life and how we're living in our bodies and in the world, right? So we have the centers here that we start with. You don't have to start up here, but the top of it is the crown center or the head center. I'm sorry, but the crown chakra is what I think of when I see it, and it is that way of what comes in, of what information is coming in from the outside. And it's not just to the top of the head, but I find that most of the energetic systems, to keep it simple, are only going to talk about like receiving from the crown. So, but anybody who's worked with energy, right, done any energy work or even sound work, sound systems, knows that energy is coming from everywhere all the time, right? So it's just a matter of like, how are we incorporating it? I think that also um, applies to the crown center. A lot of that does. So it's the ajna is the next one. So this is the ajna in chakras and in the human design body graph. So that is where, at least in human design's context, the ajna is about discerning or applying or connecting information that's coming in from the outside. So I find like this is also how we are connecting our senses on the inside as well. So like some I think might directly apply that to the crown, but I think in at least the 3D senses, if you're talking about the five senses and then six senses, the ajna, those things are coming through and reflecting through the ajna, in my opinion, as far as how we are picking up and applying them. So if you have an open ajna, a lot of times you might not have a one way to do it. All right. That's me. This is my husband. So he has a lot of filled in centers. Pretty much I have like the whole root situation going on, the root sacral, but pretty much everything else is open except for my throat chakra, which has like, I don't know, eight, nine gates. It's a lot. Um, so so that's why that's why I help people integrate is their ability to speak, manifest, and create. That's what I do is to show up for themselves and the work they're here to do in the world. That's what I help people do. So there's that throat chakra happening. That's sorry. So that throat chakra and the throat center, those are also correlative. You've got the G center, and people ask what the G stands for, and nobody knows. At least the official book that I know, and my favorite person who did actually work with Ra Uru, who but and also developed their own system, was Karen Curry Parker, and she doesn't know. She never heard a direct translation from them. So it is what it be, but it is a component of the heart center. And in the evolution of humanity, which is essentially why there's so many things happening here, is it's split into the G center, which is about our identity, love, self, our valuing of love of self and what we create and how we are sharing that. And it split also into the wills. The will I also think of as the heart. It's about how we are using our power to create things in the world, including our willpower to do it or bring that out from self, right? So there's that. And then if you come straight down, you're talking sacral energy. This is good stuff, right? This is the good stuff. It is where we get energy from, period. Like you just think of it as engine. That's what I think of it as. It's just your engine. It's where we get energy from. It's where energy is most immediate. Again, so if this is open, then you're a projector. Because there's yeah, I mean you can be emotional or splenic projector, but you're essentially, if you don't have this colored in, then you're living projector life, which is this just I think the most important thing to remember about being a projector is that you're more intense than most people can handle off top. So the invitation is usually your way of operating. You're supposed to be your modus operandi. So what you're looking for are people who have been around you and know enough about you to value who you are, or at least open to valuing who you are. And so, and then once they are asking for more understanding or better connection with you in a way that is respectful. I think sometimes projectors forget that part. You don't want just anybody who's just like, oh, I can get something from this person, right? You want somebody who is respectful and is truly wanting to honor you, because it really is kind of a queen position, the projector. It's definitely, it's supposed to be the leader of the tribe, so to speak. I guess manifestors are kind of meh, 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 right? They're kind of the assumed leader, but that's again because there's that like the intensity of the energy that kind of moves into other people's fields automatically. Except manifestors, we accept that they're leaders. Projectors, we kind of are like, why are you talking? Unless we've invited that feeling, invited the conversation. And so that's why you get that advice from human design people all the time. But it's true for everybody. It is true for everybody. I feel like we people might not have as abrupt reactions as projectors get from people, but the it's a good premise in general to find out if what you're sharing is what people want to hear or is what they're interested in or needing, right? So it's just a good practice. So we have that. And then we have the splenic center, we have the emotion center, and we have the root center down here. And that is our human design chart. Again, if you have any questions, if you feel like something specific may help you understand, then that is something that we can get into. So we have let's do the star pearl. I know. Um, I'm not really teaching Star Pearl right now, but it is powerful information for those who are starting the practice. I think anybody who's heard of a tetrahedron can see a little bit of what's happening here. Powerful information in our prosperity pathway of the gene keys. So if you haven't, check out your Star Pearl, which is again, it should be available. There's a preview free profile. You just have to click the link in the little box chat thingy, and it'll show you how to get your own chart. And if you go in, you can pull up your Star Pearl information with your, yeah, with their Star Pearl path. You just look it up. Okay. And all of them have self descriptors. So that's what's so fun. Now they've updated the website if you haven't been over there in a while. So when you click on it, it'll give you a description of the shadow gift key and line for that sphere. So directly related to the path. And of course, they have very reasonable priced courses if you decide to learn more and go deeper, right? So I think that's pretty powerful. So I'm gonna hang out here and see if anybody wants a reading. So I'll be checking my forms and yeah, if something else comes up that I might want to talk about, I'll just talk about that. And we'll go from there. All right. I'm gonna stop that share. All right, so yep, if you want a reading, then you just put information in the chat below and we can get started. It will be fun. So what we have is Western astrology, gene keys, human design. I'm only doing one. Like if it was a profesh reading, we would use all three, but for this, we're just doing one to see what happens. I welcome donations. I would love a donation, but if you don't have it today, that's okay. It's okay. This is first off free. You see the free, there's a free version. And so yeah, don't worry about it. If you're interested or you're curious, if you haven't yet done your gene key chart before, then maybe it's today, maybe today you get to learn a little bit about your gene key chart. There's also a free link if you just want to pull it up for yourself. So you don't need me. You don't need me. You can do it for yourself by clicking my referral link in the chat. It's the one that says Gene Key Hologenetic Profile. So feel free to tap on that. Or I can also just pull up my chart or one of the charts I have to show you a little bit about the gene keys. But I do require participation. So if you have a question, just let me know. If this is the first time you ever heard about gene keys or human design, just let me know and I can kind of give some general information on a chart. That is totally up for grabs. Just let me know what you are interested in. Hello, hello. So I'm just waiting on a brave soul to ask a question or possibly put in your natal information. Again, if you want to keep it private, then I'll pull it up on the form and make sure to keep it out of the frame, any identifying information. If you're just here to learn, then ask me a question and I can pull up one of the chart that you have a question about and we can talk a little bit about it. If you let me know what level you are too. Like if you are just never heard of astrology before, then that's fine. We can talk a little bit about just general information on astrology. If you have done anything already, if you've just kind of in your own curiosity found out a few things, then maybe you can build on that. Or if the gene keys, I never get tired talking about gene keys. So if you want to talk about the gene keys, but I love to like I'm a teacher at heart, so I'm interested in getting you to where you want to go. So what are you interested about the gene keys? Are you interested about in astrology? How can I help you get to where you're going with it? is my highest desire here. So I'm continuing and keep looking to see if I'm missing anything in the chart. So that's part of it. But in the meantime, just chilling and relaxing. I'm an introvert at heart, honestly. So if I feel like if I feel like I'm not helping, then I don't need to talk. um, yeah. So let me know if I can help out. Hello, Jonathan. How are you? Where are you from? That's the first. And tell me if I said your name right. Jonathan. Does that sound right? Of course. That is why I'm here. So again, if you want to keep your information private, you can use the form pinned at the top. But if you want to, um, go ahead and put it in the chat, that's fine too. Feel free. Ethiopia? Are you kidding? That's awesome. I'm trying to play with my little machine to see if I can see better on here. That's amazing. Oh, they didn't. They did. Why would I do that? Took me away from my own screen. Hmm. So let me know if you filled out the form. Ah, there we go. Human design. Good. Fabulous. Let's do it. And he said, yes, I am serious. We're doing Ethiopia. I love it. All right. Give me a second while I pull it up. I was open. So yeah, so as I was like put it in, I'm like, oh, did I spell it right? I didn't the first time. I didn't spell Ababa right. But now I believe I have it. November 17th, 91, 9:11 a.m. Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And I'm sure I'm not saying any of that correctly. Oh, you're a projector. So you're a mental projector. Oh, you're wide open down here, aren't you? There you go. Okay, let's share. I'm going to share the screen so you can see what I'm referring to. I'm wondering if I should do like a section so you see everything about your business. Let's try that. I'll choose. There we go. So, have you ever pulled up your human design chart before? Is this a first time you're doing a design chart? Close this one up and look at sharing the screen. Here we go. This is the right one. All right. So when I say wide open, I mean that the centers at the bottom aren't colored in, right? So undefined center often means that it's our learning experience in this time at bat in this lifetime, right? And so what we can learn a lot about in our open centers is usually where we find we get a little challenge. Oh, you've been studying it for months, so it's been less than a year, but you've been in it and learning about it. I love that. So so with all these open centers, I'm sure you've heard that it can create this pressure to want to kind of work all the time or to solve a lot of or to get things done or even to get things done for others. Um, even sometimes to the detriment of self. So a lot of projectors don't realize is that they need to rest more, right? And or they don't know how to rest, right? If they've gotten the learning teaching from their parents, society, community that you don't get to rest, then or that there's no rest needed, especially as we're younger. Like they think, you should be able to just keep going for forever and ever. And you don't know what it's like to be an old body type of feel is usually the what they feed us. But it can feel like a lot of pressure to do for others. And I think it can be very confusing if you because a lot of projectors also have like a solid G center because that's where the planets end up, right? But you actually have a lot of planets in the root center. It's just not attached to anything. So what you find is that you want more of those things that it feels like other people have the things that you want, right? The ways of being, the way they can do things so easily, the way that they don't get tired, the way that they can find motivation and energy within themselves and not have to depend on others, right? But for you and for people with this many open centers, even if you're not a reflector, you really your environment can determine a lot. Okay, so if it's clear to you that the environment isn't serving others, then it may be a clue to you that it's not serving you either, right? And so you might be somebody who needs to find a better environment, but that's part of your work or your ability to move forward is to find an environment that is more conducive to growth and healing and all of the things that you're looking for if you're interested in something like human design, right? Greater knowledge, wisdom, understanding. But you have a lot of wisdom and understanding with the head center that is defined. You have a clear idea of what can work and what is happening. So, but what again, your projectors tend to experience is that they're sharing it without positive feedback. And so without essentially that invitation that they're constantly harping on in human design, then you can get rebuffed pretty hardly, or people might decide that they'll use your information but not give you credit, or give you a recognition value, pay you for it, right? These are like the things that can happen if we're kind of giving information before we've been invited or shown, or they've shown they respect who we are. So tell me if that kind of flows with what you've already been understanding about your chart, and I'll move on and, just kind of let me know if you want to know more about any of these sections that we can get into it. Or if you want to know specifically about something that's happening that could be reflected in the body graph, right? That would be a really good use of time. I am pretty good with the gene key shadows, and I can always pull it up if I don't know it as familiarly. Yeah. Well, that like I feel like projectors very reasonably, right? Very reasonably tend to feel that way. Without the root center, and again, I correlate this to the root chakra, so I know people say they aren't the same thing, but whatever. I know what my intuition tells me. And so without that being innately filled in, it can feel like you belong somewhere else, right? And that is that feeling of feeling like you're alien to other people. But also without the emotion center, without the spinning center filled in, you really don't get some of the way people respond. Like you don't get why people get so emotional about certain things. You don't get why people are so naturally afraid, and like fear is the first thing they go to. But anybody because you have so few gates in both of those centers, like anybody with any of those other keys or gates in human design are going to, it's going to be amplified in your presence. So you're like, what is that? What is it? Why people like just blow up when I'm in the room, especially if you're having a bad day yourself, right? And that's why, because everything that is open for you amplifies for other people, which is why people feel projectors so intensely, right? Your field is interceding into theirs, and then it amplifies whatever is going on for them. So this is again why I love Gene Key's work, because it's going to teach you how to, when you're getting those negative shadows as mirrored reflections or projections from other people, like how you can shift them into the gift by using the vibrational awareness, right? I mean, you can always just do your practices that you use to be in high vibration. So you want to do something, but you don't. Okay, I would say, I would say that you know what you want to do, but it's probably emotions or the people around you that make you feel like it's not the right thing. Okay, you have again, um, filled in head center. It's not open, right? It's a closed center. Your ajna is closed. So you have an understanding of how you're receiving the information and what it means to you. And then where we're getting probably the conflict is how other people are receiving that information, because we don't have a connection from the throat center to anywhere. You only have one gate in your throat center, and to leave the throat center to move that information, to get other people involved, to get other people on board, for people to see your value. Like it would take a bit of, naturally a bit of more energy there, but you have a promised energy. And so if we can find, like in other words, in the right environment. We talked about that a little bit already. So part of the right environment is finding people with correlative channel keys or gates. I'm sorry, gates to the other side of the channel. So what would be nice again is to find somebody who can complete or has a complete channel. So I have both of these, right? So that's probably one of the reasons why you're here. You're attracted to the energy because I have complete on both sides of this, and then this I'm complete. No, I'm in 1222 is when I have that channel. So, but I also connect that for you, right? So what it can feel like is that you only know how you feel when you're with other people, but it's not really your feelings, it's their feelings. Okay. So if you take the externalized feelings out of the equation, do you like if like okay, let's say it like this. If I wave a magic wand and I say you can have whatever you want, what do you want to do? Right? Do you have an answer? That would be my first question. Okay. But I would look for somebody also with a gate 35. So one of the things I like to do is see what that is in so we can complete this channel because what they're going to be able to do is help you to connect to speak about what's true for you and your emotions. Okay, they're going to help you be able to communicate it and find a way of manifesting that in something that you get to actually experience. Tell me if the wave the magic wand trick works for you. It works for some of my people, maybe not everybody. Let's look and see. Yes, that's natural though. Like as a projector, we don't have that inner sacral energy. So you want to find kind of your natural ways of gaining energy. So again, I would go ahead and do a gene key profile because if you look up your radiance key, that's going to be a natural way for you to resource energy. Your celebration, your radiance key, and your purpose key. So essentially, radiance. Well, I guess it's these. It'll be the 23 and 30. So let me look that up for you. I'll look that up for you. No worries. But you can, you can probably spend a little bit more time yourself because it'll have little paragraphs for each of the keys in the shadow, gift, and city. And I think that's what's really powerful about using this information. To me, the human design is basically just saying this is what you're stuck with. I don't know. I don't know where people go from there if you don't kind of have, I mean, to me, waiting on an invitation, if you're in an environment that's not inviting, is a problem. So that remember what I said in the beginning, part of this might be that what you're supposed to do is get into a more nurturing environment, a better environment. So maybe you need to work towards getting into a better job, applying for different jobs or getting into a place where you're in a community that's just more understanding and values who you are. Finding that, and you're online, so you can find online communities as well that are going to be more supportive of who you are and what you are really interested in. So that's another option until you're able to actually move your body. But again, somebody with this many open centers, I just highly recommend that you like find um, actual location that's giving you that feedback that you are safe, okay, and that you are needed. Let me find out what the sign is for 35. I don't know off the top. So Gemini, I had a feeling. I had a feeling. So so it looks like people who are maybe even like if you have any expatriate groups in your area. What you're looking for is an adventurous personality. So what you'll find is that people who are already in the midst of traveling, so I don't mean that as like, you know, that there's somehow no more, but that they are interested in experiencing for a variety of things. At minimum, right? They're going to be people who have been in several different environments and may suggest an environment for you. Yeah, that waiting for the invitation piece um is about what you, and especially you got like a 6-3 going on. So that's part of it. Most people would have, like, if you had a one, you would have something to do, right? You just keep creating until somebody invites you. Yeah, you love Geminis? Okay, good. So yeah, these are the people that are going to be able to give you a lot of different perspectives, and you'll want to find people who are more on the adventurous side. That's their gift. So they are, um, and so that's the 35. Again, if you can find somebody who's actually a 35, that would be brilliant. But you're looking for people who are adventurous, who like to talk about their travels. So maybe even travel bloggers. I have some friends that like to do house sitting and stuff. Um, so, your best option right now is to find people online, like hang out with the travel bloggers, those kind of people. Maybe start looking for where that place can be that would nurture more of who you are and what you want to do. Okay. Um, and yeah, the waiting for the invitation, I get it. It's one of the reasons why I've never gone into coaching with human design outside of how it correlates to our physical health and what supports our structured environments. Um, because I feel like it's a bit of a cop out, right? The invitation thing. It's not, when I say cop out, I mean, like, okay, well, if everybody's supposed to wait on invitations except for manifestors, that makes life really annoying. Like nobody's taking a leadership position when that's literally what our assignment is during this part of the evolution, is to find out who we are in our highest selves as individuals, right? So I do feel it's a bit of a cop out, the whole wait for the invitation game. But what does it really mean? And if I'm not, again, this is not my dominant teaching practice, but if I were to kind of embody that, what does it really mean to wait on the invitation? It means to go about your business, right? To go about what you are already doing, what you do naturally, what you do well, what you want to do, and then notice who notices, right? So notice who compliments you on what you're doing, who is like, oh, I would love to see more of that. I would love to hear about more of that. That's the invitation, right? But in the meantime, what are you up to? Again, I would go more to, well, okay, let me use three. So three, I'm kind of depending on Gene Keys a little bit here, because the third line is going to give us how you move into purpose. So let's do that. So I'll make up some new songs. I'm sure that's not a new song. I'm sure I'm still never somebody. It happened. It happened. My computer only goes slow when I'm looking up something on Zoom. So I guess I have to be patient. Um, Let me see if I can depend on my inner memory a little bit. So let's see. I think it may be blood is the third line, which is essentially about being in flow of and connected to what else is going on. And let's see if I'm right. Finally got the thing to show up. Okay, now I just have to wait for it to manifest in the screen. But but essentially it's that ability to move through things. So let's look in the, yeah, I was right, blood. So it's movement. So essentially you want to be in movement, in flow. So if you again can't change your environment itself, then I would have a place where you normally go walking. Have a place where you um like yeah, if you walk to the market, then or you can walk when you get to the market, just cover a wider radius, right? What happens when you get into that flow with other people and you have your body is moving, so it can be anything physical really. You can do just exercise period, right? So you could just have a place where you run and you're running through the community or the community centers like a market, and being able to pick up the vibe, the energy of what's going on around you, right? And then whenever you move into action, that you want to have a sense of that vibe in you as a physical reality, as something that you can like kind of sense into, and what I call remember or recall to the body as a felt thing. Okay. So when you're able to do that, what that allows for is that you are creating in sync with others. And so they're more likely, I know, it sounds kind of gruesome, the blood. Um, but yeah, it's about the heartbeat. It's not about, it's not a bad, well, you should know. Like, so it's not a bad thing, right? It's our blood. And what we're not used to, I think, especially, with all the war amongst everywhere and all the places. You're used to violent blood meaning violence, right? But if you're woke, if you've been understanding that there's a feminine rebalancing happening, that there's a lot of what is truth or truer about the nature of being human, part animal, part soul, right? Like this understanding, then you know that there's nonviolent blood, right? There's the blood of birth, there's the blood of menstruation, right? So it's really about the potency of life and how it moves and how it creates, right? And so when we feel your heart beating and you feel your blood pumping in your body, when you're doing the physical work, and when you feel that, you'll feel more inspired to again do something. Your brain will start bringing through those ideas and say something about them, right? If you're again, if you can maybe make your path a way that you spend more time in a more promising environment. If you're going walking or if you're bicycling or whatever you're doing, that it takes you to a place that you feel better in, right? And so let that be the inspiration, and don't let like whatever environment that's not suiting you be the inspiration. Do you get what I'm saying? Or don't let it depress you. Does that make sense? So yeah. So there's a lot there. I would so, and then also what you get in that is this ability to break through whatever's not working in your life. And that is by interacting. So invitation is basically to share the gift that you want people to value and respect, right? But interaction, doing some level of action, having some level of conversation does not take an invitation, right? It just takes a willingness to be with others and to see where they're at and what's going on with them. Walking around in your neighborhood. Yeah. So, how long have you been in your neighborhood? Um, if it's a new place, then that may be a good thing. If it's the same old place that's giving you the same old feelings, we might need something new. Okay. Um, so yeah, so those are the things. I think street, get some coffee. That sounds good. Because usually when you go out to get coffee, you're getting around more people who are doing things that are maybe having, you know, having their own ideas and getting things done themselves again, and get inspired by being around what is the rhythm of what's being created in the area, right? Um, so yeah, you never answered the wave the magic wand question. Did anything come up for you about like if you could do anything, you could be a fighter pilot, right? Would you be a fighter pilot if that was just like a yes? Or what else? Like where's your brain go to first? Do you have any childhood dreams you wish you could have been somebody? Do you feel like you wish you could kind of swap lives with anybody? We kind of live in the projector life. So if you're a projector, if you want to be next, again, then you just want to put your information in the chat. I would love to do another reading. I haven't gone too deep here, but I think those primary principles of understanding your centers are really going to be important, because if you still haven't learned to kind of find the environments where you can plug into something that is nurturing and self-evolving. So that's, projectors are pretty self-evolving. Oh, I see, the English isn't clear. So wave a magic wand. Make a wish, like when you blow out the candles, like you make a wish, like anything could happen. Anything could happen. So regardless of where you live, where's the circumstances, like if anything was possible, oh man, I can't imagine. I have a hard time with the one, you know. So I have the one and it gets confusing sometimes. Um, yeah, so essentially, what is your dream job? Like maybe that's something you've heard before. Um, Yeah, what would you do if there were no restrictions? You can do whatever you want. And yeah, just let me know if anybody wants to be next in the reading, or if you've already put in your chart, please just put it in the chat that you put the form in. So I don't have to keep bouncing through all the screens. I would love that. I would. Are there not enough translations that are working? Um, so dream, wish, heart's desire, any of those clicking? Yeah, okay. See, this is the beautiful part of being a line six, is that you have that greater understanding of how we can all do better. This is why we definitely need your viewpoint, but people are like, the higher your understanding, the harder it is for people to understand you, because they're very usually naturally motivated personally. And that's the hardest thing about line six personalities, essentially, is that you are living this experience where you feel like an alien, right? And so, what part of that invitation, again, I'm getting this from Gene Keys, is to make yourself a part of the party. Okay. Line sixes tend to have this greater understanding They don't get why people are making the choices they're making. They don't get why people are making choices that hurt themselves and others. And so they feel so separate. They never include themselves in what's happening and feel like they're not included. And that is probably really pronounced as a projector as well. And so in our gift, in that kind of reciprocal chemical reaction, is the choice to join the party, whether you're right to join the party or start the party, right? And I think that maybe again in conflict with the idea of wait for the invitation, but not if like the party is at the cafe, right? Or the coffee shop. It's not and it's not if you are if it's a block party, right? Like the party that you decide is that's a block party. I like my neighborhood. Let's make a party where people can get to know each other better in the neighborhood. I don't know if, again, that's a translation problem, but essentially you would invite everybody in the neighborhood to the party. And then you would just say it's the neighborhood's party. It's not necessarily your party, right? But you obviously are part of the party by being the one that's in action around it, right? And so that's going to be the hardest part because your purpose is that feelingness of to create change for other people, right? And without that invitation, it's often undesired, right? So without that invitation, people are like, I don't want your party, right? But that's the difference. Um, if you are creating the essentially the action that will allow people to choose to invite you, then that is part of what will cue the music, so to speak. um, mhm. Yes. Well, uh, I love that you know that. Okay, so I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna lean on Gene Keys again around this. So in that um so yeah, so in the 38 in the Gene Keys, let's look a little bit about how this is translated in a different frame. Okay. The shadow is struggle, which is essentially fighting without a purpose. Okay. The perseverance is the indomitable spirit of the underdog. So that's the gift that if we take that challenge as what was worth persevering in, what is worth the effort. Okay. So you can think of perseverance as extra effort or continued effort. So it's this ability to keep going even if you're not slated to win. Okay. And when in the highest spirit is considered an honor, which is essentially that you are doing it for more than the recognition. So in that energy of feeling like the innocence is lost, it's that ability to persevere and move back to it, to continue into what you know to be true, regardless of what people are um, stating they need. Yeah. So and if you're only looking at one group, I'm going to say it again. If you're only looking at one group, like of acceptance, then it's the wrong group. It's the wrong group. It's the wrong environment. It's the wrong environment. I know that's annoying. I know it's annoying to hear. It's not much I can do about it. It's just the truth, right? If they can't see your brilliance, it's the wrong environment. So you have to find a new environment. And so yeah, and so again, if you're willing to put in that effort and you send out the notice, or you send out the notice that the party is happening, and nobody recognizes that it's a benefit to the neighborhood and themselves, then it's the wrong neighborhood, right? So that I'm gonna go back to my original statement. It may be a good idea to jump in, um, to a new neighborhood feel, if at minimum online, going into maybe like expatriate groups, people who travel a lot, okay, people who are ready for the big changes. Because that's why they want new environments, is so they can see more of what's possible and what wants to change for themselves and the world. Because if you know that change is needed, then you want everybody to experience what will make the world better, right? You heard. That would make it all perfect if Morpheus just shows up and gives you the other pill. And then you'll be with all the people who understand, you know. That is the truth. Well, I can't tell this year. It's their third language. I mean, doing better than I am most days. So it's always, hopefully, hopefully that is exactly. You said you want to stay independent. That's that part. You're 59. Yeah, I mean that completion channel, that sounds like you're fiending for that completion channel. Yeah, you want you want to fix it, right? You want to bring the peace, but that's not necessarily your strength. Yeah. You're being called to create closer environments with people that are different. So again, not about that life of, wait, yeah, I pulled up the right thing. Um, so yeah, so um, it's not about, it's not about being the peacekeeper. It's not about being the, like you're going to prove what true love is, or this idea that you only you know why it's worthy. That's very line six of you, dear. Right? Like you want to get in the weeds here a little bit, not necessarily accept conditions of other people, but to allow yourself to be wholly yourself regardless of who others are being. That is the essentially what's happening, that you're honest, that you aren't perfect, right? That you aren't peaceful all the time, that you aren't loving all the time, but you find a way back to it. That's the message. That's the message right there. Yeah, because it's not about being separate. A line six in the highest, when you move, you're, how old are you? So it could, yeah. So you're not fully, like a line six takes a while to develop. You're more in the experimentation phase, but again, that's just more bringing you to this understanding. You need to be with people who are experiencing more things. You don't want to be around the people who've been, their generations and generations have been in the same neighborhood, that kind of thing. You don't want to be around people who've never been to a different church, right? Like, or have never been to a different religion, right? Have never sought anything past what they grew up with or in what they know. You want to be with people who are looking for something different, who are immersing themselves in different environments and loving it. And you'll and those people will get the independence. They're not going to try to make you something or not. Again, you have to, it's the right environment. You have one, two, three, six open centers of nine. Yes, your environment is very much the answer to a lot of the problems. Like a lot of the problems will fix themselves in the right environment. So yeah, I like the coffee shop idea. Anybody putting their chart information in? I'm ready to move to the next reading. You can fill out the form if you don't want people to know your exact birth, or you can let's put it in the chat if you're open like that. I want to domesticate. I can believe it. You're just different, right? But then, that's the point. Sounds like the same group of people. And that's the thing that I think especially a lot of us that are empathic, we haven't had great experiences by melding with communities and groups. But that's why we have to hold the truth of what we want to experience in our heart and then let our hearts lead us to that place or lead us to that group of people. Okay. Um, because what we do is what we buy into is that we're the only ones who think this way. We're the only ones that feel this way. And it just puts us in further isolation. And then we never share our gifts because we're too different. We don't want to fall into that trap. That's not what we want. That is not what we're looking for. Mhm. All right, folks, send in your chart, send in your info. No, you're not because you don't have any um defined centers. Like, I mean, you don't have a defined emotional center. Oh, me, what's my design? I am an emotional manifesting generator. So I'm a lot of emotion. Cancer, Sun and Moon, Scorpio rising in a Western chart, all the emotions. All the emotions. Like the seaweed in the water, constant emotions and movement, like flying high. Well, in my maturity, I've learned to chill a little bit. A little bit. It's not the chill that's working for me, honestly. It's the ability to embrace the extremity of my emotion. Rising Scorpio, Sun, Pisces, Moon. Whoa. So yeah, that's that Pisces Moon too. Like that's just like the open center emotion center. Scorpio Sun. Um, yes. See, that's the projector. Capricorn rising, that's the projector. Yeah, that Capricorn rising, especially a projector, just makes people feel really inefficient. And so they try to avoid you if they're in any kind of avoidance or procrastination. Like they don't want to see you. They don't want to know you. They're like, forget this. Anybody else want to do a little reading? Mm, 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 mm. Check out my forms. And yes, anybody, any level of donation, the Cash App doesn't have a limit. PayPal forced me to put an amount in. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Um, I mean, Capricorn rising, at least especially when I was growing up, would be probably my scariest. Maybe not. Maybe a Virgo rising, any Earth, right? Like, freaks out, freaks out the water signs, I think. They're like, what? I don't know. I don't know. Do I have to know? Do I have to know? Do I have to be clear? You know? But but you get that. I think you get with a Scorpio sun, you get like kind of the dark side of emotion, right? Pisces moon, you get that it's not always true to life, true to other people's experience, but you can easily turn that into nobody gets me. Like that's the hard part of having that much water with a Capricorn rising. That's like almost a Capricorn mantra, and to have all the the Scorpio and Pisces jumping into that conversation. Holy cow. Holy cow. That's just kind of like, because what emotions will do is they'll follow the train of the pattern of thought, right? Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. So if we don't get off that train, we gotta pick a new train, pick a new environment. It's gonna be my mantra to you. Pick a new train until you start repatterning yourself. So in training, again, I'm gonna keep recommending them because it's some of the high value stuff. If you go through my voice work on my voice lessons videos, um, that's learning to entrain new sensations, new ways of thinking into your body essentially. And I know meditation does that. Just takes forever. I'm sorry. I've tried it. This is the most effective thing I know, using voice, vibration, and intention. And I know people will fight me on that, but I'm doing the science. I started a flow frequency beta study, which is essentially using heart rate data to be able to track how pretty much anything is impacting our health and our ability to be resilient. So I would check it out if I were you all. I would check it out. Mercury is in the 12th house. Don't say that. It's not Delulu. Mercury with that with five? No, not Delulu. Visionary. Visionary. Get these people out of your head. Whoever these people are, they are not serving you. It is not serving you to believe the hype. Uh, say Mercury's 5-6. Patience. Oh my gosh. Patience. That's the key. You know, it's always a thing you don't want to hear. I can feel it. Just, just like screw that. I can feel it. But it is, you gotta, it's just that. And what people will see in you, especially as you mature, is that you are patient because you'll finally realize it's not working. Being impatient isn't working. Whenever that maturity develops, things will start to solidify a little bit better. Um, and then the 29 awards, I'll double check. Ooh. So your design crystal saying that you have to choose it first. You have to say what's worth it without the confirmation. It's actually coming back a little bit to your 38. You got to choose it first. You got to commit. You got to commit. I've got patience. I have lots of patience. And the hard way. I've done phones at call center, not maybe not call center, but like at front desk at orthopedic surgeons. So it was a call center for them, and people are always in pain when they call. So they call and they're like, "I need to see Doctor. I have to see them now." And I'm like literally, they're in surgery, not available. No, I can't see the PA. I have to see Doctor So and so. And you're just like, "I'm sorry, ma'am. They're in surgery right now, but I'd love to get somebody to help you." And so they'll either like kind of come with me or they'll like hang up because they're annoyed with me. I'm just too calm. But that's the Cancer Sun and Moon in me. Like I can pretty easily change the tables. I've got that mama vibe. So they either feel like they can go with me or they get out of the room. They get out of the room. They're like, I am not with this. No, no. I was pre-med when I was first in school. So I had a track where I had some like coding, anatomy, physiology, biology, chemistry. So that was kind of my first jobs. It was administrative, medical. Yeah. And that's why I learned how to use my operatic instrument to change people's minds. It's like, oh my goodness, are you okay? Well, what's happening? So I fiercely look for the first appointment and make the decision if it's an emergency. Oh, your tummy. Oh, your tummy. Well, yeah. I mean, that can be so many different things because if we're not in the right environment, if we don't feel like those things that will move us into what can make the difference for us, then that can be anything from diet to stress, right? Um, and let's see what your diet protocol is, see if it's doable, if I can even say the definition here. Mm-mm-mm. So your literal environment in the human design is mountains, which means that you should be in a place where you can see people moving in and out from like high ground to low ground. So if you're even if it only means you're on the top floor of an apartment building, that can be a better environment for you. Mm, and I'm not seeing the translation for, let me look at mine. Mm, Yeah, these aren't very defining. Um, like I know mine is, let's see what yours is. So it may be like small meals, like small, um, very small meals, like snacking almost. Not eating too many different things at once. See if that helps. That's by the chart. I'm not a doctor. I'm not. This is not medical advice. This is a mere suggestion based on a chart. um, but yeah, like yeah, you would like that. It's line sixes. I already feel like they're on top of the roof, anyways. And they're like, I will just stay up here and judge people. But yeah, it is actually sometimes it's just a better vantage point because it also tells you kind of what if you do decide to go out into the community, like what's awaiting you, right? What's awaiting you when you come off the mountain. So, but yeah, where you sleep, where you live, you do want to be higher if you can, higher elevation. Isn't that interesting? So there's ways to do it. Like there's parks, you know, a lot of parks will have hills. I'm not sure if that's the case. I'm pretty sure that's a plains area, but it could, I'm sure there's something a little higher. And if you go up a hill, then you'll just feel better. It's like probably the highest place in the park is probably where you want to do your grounding, that kind of thing. Yeah, and any brave souls want to put their chart information in, and it's up to you. We can do Gene Keys, which is my favorite. Yeah, it's my favorite. It's fine. It's okay. As Western astrology, which is always a little easier to correlate with transits because I get all my transit information from Western astrologers and tarot readers. I've been studying Western astrology for, I guess, about a decade now, but I'm not one of those people who's going to look up all the angles and the, what they call them, every time there's a little asteroid and the Kasiki, that's not right. But you know, all the little different words for the different ways the charts are showing up. I'm an intuitive astrology predominantly, but I've gone into studies around gene keys. And so gene keys, so it's probably longer. I've probably been doing Western astrology about 13 years. Gene keys is going on a decade. Pretty crazy. You're so welcome. You never told me if I said your name right. I was saying Jonathan. I'm not sure if it was, maybe I'm supposed to use the Y as a J. Jonathan. That's just me Americanizing everything. So I don't know if I got either one right. You're so welcome. Oh, no worries. No worries. This is free for those who don't, you know, if you don't have it, that's okay. It's part of it. This is partly my service to all, you know. And then anybody who has a little extra, who's getting anything out of this, like if you can send over $1, a couple of dollars, part of it is I'm like slowly earning my way towards getting some new fancy digs on my website and some of the things that I want to apply to my business, some applications I want to use. And the other part is my birthday's coming up. Cancer Sun and Moon, y'all. July 15th on the Tuesday. So if you want to give me a birthday present, if this has been useful for you, I would of course appreciate anything that y'all share. It's in the pinned link. You can use Cash App at, I'm sorry, money sign, money for Harris, or PayPal. The link is there. It's a little more complex, so you can read it. Click on it. It's up to you. You're so welcome. It was fun. It was fun. I'm glad. Gave me something to talk about. You always have to have a brave soul. No way. That is so cool. July 15th. Yeah, so I'm 77. So probably, yeah, might be a little young for your mom. I don't mean 77 years old. I mean 1977 is my birth year, in case that got confused in translation. Um, yeah, 1977. So get it into the big 4-8, folks. Getting that, what do they call it, half a hundred mark. Is anybody doing anything fun for the summer? Mm-mm. I'll show you real quick what I mean by the gene key chart. Mm-mm. Oh, I guess I gotta turn on my light. My little thing is fading. It's fading in the moonlight. Here we go. So in the gene key chart, we have kind of iterations of how those things go. So the 6 would be on this side, the 3 would be on this side. So it would be a component of, the 6 would be a component of how your life's work is happening for you, and how evolution or how challenges cause you to overcome. This is my chart if you're wondering, like, who's the psycho? That's just me. I am the shadow of psychosis in the 61st key of Gene Keys. Yeah, a Facebook group is Get Vocal. So, and you can, Money for Harris Voice is my business page. So you can hang out with me over there for sure. Get Vocal is the group, and it's under the page as well. So, so what I was saying essentially is that when you, this sphere here, that breakout is what is your point of health, your ability to change stress into transformation, right? The challenge into transformation. And so what that looks like over here is experiencing different things and change in the line 3. For me, it's essentially getting over myself. I have to just I have to get over myself and have and show up. That's kind of my biggest calling in life, is to go into the public when I'm an intense introvert. I'm an intense introvert, so what I've had to learn is how to save my energy, to regulate my energy, to increase my energy so that I can show up more. And that's been my life's work. Is really getting this precision down around how I express myself and use my voice. So yeah, not a doctor. I'm an operatic singer, operatic singer. So I'm an opera singer, master's in music, and that work of bringing my voice out was a soul work. It was a soul work. Me and my soul were in the practice room sobbing. Like, why would I pick the hardest thing on the planet to do for me? Because not only did I learn how to use my voice, I had to learn how to show up in front of a crowd and not fall over with nerves. I had to learn how to practice so that my nerves wouldn't debilitate me to create the music and the magic of music that I wanted to create. And that's how I developed the Oman's method, my attraction sphere. Celebration. I literally call the Radiance Key Celebrate because I think of it as celebration. So again, for me, that is that the radiance again, and how are we transcending the darkness is how we activate our purpose. Okay. So for me, that is, I have to like kind of let go a little. So when I get super emotional, I'm like, oh my God, they don't like me. They don't want to put their chart in. Oh my God, they're not going to like me. I should just turn off the camera because I'm just like embarrassing myself. And I'm getting super in my head around how I'm feeling, how I think other people are feeling. That's a little psychotic, don't you think? Yeah, because who am I? What do I know about other people and what they're feeling across the oceans? Enough. I'm sensitive, right? But essentially, my mind can get away in the way of what's truly being experienced, right? Which I could totally be like, wow, I'm just having a fun, communal, chill conversation with people in chat. How cool is that? That's pretty cool. That's what I feel like that's a super way to live an interesting life, you know? And so I have to just let go. So part of what I teach people to do is to let go. Let go of your ideas, let go of your stories, let go of like everything you think your emotions mean right now. And just be in the flow, be with yourself, be in your vibration, right? Detach from the externalization, the outcomes, the goals, the everything. Just be in the now moment. So that's part of the environment I help create. That's over here in the culture key. I just I get so in my space. Pearl, well, and singing, you would think so. I think so. Yeah, like I translate it to discernment. So how I think of that essentially is being able to tell where our quality lies, right? To see where the highest value, and to me, value includes personal understanding of beauty or the essence of what makes things in life beautiful, and the the essential what sustains us. That's my version. And so that to me creates a level of discernment where I'm not just interested in, even though I sing opera, I'm not interested in just only teaching like big voices or only talented voices or whatever. Like I'm not interested in that level of discernment. I'm interested in discernment between what is meaningful, right? But people can feel and get something and feel like their life can be changed and transformed when they encounter a voice, and when they can't. So I don't care how good it sounds if nothing's changing. I'm not I'm not a Mozart fan. I know people would like come for me to say things like that, but it's the truth. I'm not a Mozart fan because it's just too perfect. What's Cancer, Sun, and Moon, Scorpio rising. I need emotion, and like Mozart has sublime moments, but can I say like transcendent? Can I say like not for me? Not for me. I need some level of blood and guts in there. I'm not afraid of blood. That's another thing. How you cringe at blood when you're a Scorpio sun? Oh my goodness. This is one of the reasons why I'm not a performer. No, not today, my dear. Deep luteal. I'm chilling today. But yeah, do have operatic recordings on the channel, so you can find them. You can find me singing on there. You can. If you're really interested. My gene key, my full gene key translations, I have, I think, 13 now. One day we'll have all 64. They all have channeling afterward. So that's not operatic singing, but it's essentially how I'm feeling the line and the gift of the frequency of the gene key that I'm describing in each video. So that's another way you can hear me singing. Or you can sign up for my my email. No, I mean, you're not going to get that from there, but if you let me send you an email from my the drama mezzo, I also have a SoundCloud. I have, what is that other one? I haven't used it in so long. Haven't used it in so long, but my signature essentially has all my recordings. Yeah. And normally I'd say yes. Normally I'd give in and just sing a little bit, but I am a little, I wouldn't say tired, but definitely not up for an operatic voicing right now. Oh, was I having this up for? I was basically saying that when we have that groundedness of the purposefulness of, again, for you, that would be that third line, is that really where we can entrain like a heat-seeking missile, our body, our heart, and our intuition to be finding the right environments, the right connections for us. So that can be pretty powerful. Anybody want their chart read? Anybody? Anybody? See, without the feedback, my voice is like, I think I'll go take a rest now. Exactly. Exactly. But you see, that's in my emotion. It's the EQ. So my brain's always checking. I only express myself to the extent that I feel like I can help other people. I said that in the beginning. So that's why I'm okay with a bit of silence. Does anybody else have Gene Key 8 out there? I get a lot of Gene Key 8 people. I tend to, because we're different, right? We're different. The gift of Gene Key 8 is style. Style, style. The shadow of Gene Key 8 is mediocrity. And most people in the shadow, they're like, no, I am different. At least in my camp. We're artists, we're creatives, we're innovators, we're visionaries, right? SQ is spiritual quotient. Spiritual. Yeah, spiritual quotient. So it is the enumeration. And you notice how many twos I have? Twos and ones, threes and fives. Like if you break it down to numerology, it's annoying. It's like kind of a repetitive story in my life of whether it's worth it to be around others. And um, yeah, and then have a calling. My North Node is in freaking Libra. Like that's my question to higher self. Like, why? Why? Why would I choose Libra of all things in this personality, in this body? Meh. Don't like it. You only have two ones. Yeah, I don't have a lot of line ones. Now I'm talking about like the numerological breakdown. So if you look at the numerology, I Ching is very much numerology. A lot of like human design is not going to tell you that. Gene Keys doesn't really talk about it too much. But yeah, human design is numerology. Did I close it? Oh, here it is. Um, so if you think about 62, like the number by itself with the six, if you think about the six line, you can use the lines as part of the understanding. So six is that higher understanding within the perspective of creation. Two is creation. Two um, is the sharing with others. It's the relationship between things, right? So that's essentially the understanding of precision. And if you look at the I Ching, I should know this, but I don't. I'm going to use my cheat code and go to the resource library. Um, so the I Ching is thunder over mountain. So those are the two trigrams that are make up the hexagram 62, which is an I Ching hexagram. And so thunder over mountain. So is that basically that like knowledge from the heights into the manifestation creation, right? You can go through all of them like that. It's a good question, right, Jonathan? Like, why would I choose this life? Whose idea was this? And it's like the thought that first entered my brain the first time I did my an opera that had I had my a role with a name in it. But get this, okay? Get this. The staging for this newbie on the stage with singers, people who sing at the Metropolitan Opera on a regular basis. One had been a Metropolitan Opera singer for like 30 years, something crazy. So I had to come onto stage with them doing a duet. How did I do a stage entrance? I had to run across the whole at the front top of the stage. Now, first, in order to get to the top of the stage, you have to climb the stairs to be able to get to the landing that goes across the top of the stage, right? It's like a set, right? So I ran across the stage, and then I had to run down the stairs, enter the stage, and with these two amazing singers, with my little young self, and then I had to sing immediately, hopefully. And of course, like two of the, I think three shows or four shows we did, I didn't even make it down off the stairs in time. Any case, I was petrified for the first show. I was so petrified. And I'm like freezing, freezing, freezing. This is actually where I learned the first step of my Oman's method. I literally was about to back out. So what I did is I breathed all the way because I knew if I was about, I felt that feeling. You're like, you can't figure out if you're supposed to breathe or not. That's called hyperventilating. Okay. And I was like, well, what do they do when they're hyperventilating? And I was like, oh yeah, they get the paper bag, they breathe out into the paper bag. And I was like, well, do you need a paper bag or can I just do it? And I learned that night that you do not need a paper bag. You can just breathe out. And it's what I found out later is that it's a direct trigger for the vagus nerve to tone the vagus nerve. So it immediately settles their fight or flight response. Isn't that cool? So that's like the first info of the OMOS method. That's my story. It happened. It was real. It happened in real time. In real time. So here we go. Oh, it's making things up. I'm writing right now. Sorry. Do you have a chart? Can you imagine the little me? I wasn't that young. I wish I was that young. I wasn't that young. I wish I was that young. I was an adult, so I thought I had to get it right. Was how old was I when that happened? I would say 20, 26, 27, 28, around there. How old was I? It's about, oh, I see. Like maybe, okay, so about 20 years ago. So yeah, 27, 27. It was exciting times, I tell you what. Oh my goodness. I thought, you know, you never know, but you do your best, right? And that's what youth gives you, a lot of energy to do your best. And then when you get older, you're like, I gotta get this right. I gotta get this right. I gotta get this right. Because you feel like you'll run out of ideas, energy, resources, whatever. It's a lie, folks. You get the energy by doing the thing. And I trust me when I say conservation of energy was my one of my biggest theories when I was younger. And life has taught me different. I do believe in conserving energy. And I do believe in respecting your body and your energy, that's your capacity, of your body. So, oh wait, let me get this. Let me get this to Daryl. 1 second. If anybody wants to chart, I'm about to start doing last calls, y'all. At least ask me some astrology questions so I have something to talk about when I get back. I'll be right back. Woohoo! All right. Let's see it go on. Definitely not enough people for me to turn my light on. Definitely not that. That is not what's happening right now. So yeah, anybody have any questions for me? Mhm. Chillax over on this side. See if I can get another brave soul to send me in the chat. I'll go check on my forms. 1 second. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I think I do too. Yeah, I get real playful. I still whine. I'm a Cancer Sun and Moon, so I'm still fully capable of going into a full-fledged whine. Oh my God. I think it's more annoying than that. You'd have to ask hubby. I was thinking about turning on my light. I know I'm flickering. I'm flickering like a spirit. It's just shadows, y'all. It's just shadows. Can y'all hear that? It's myself. It's one of the ways I fake people out. It's one of my regenerators. I call it restorative humming in my practice. I love my family so much, so much. It's a gift to the world. Mm. Like, it's like, that is not a real sound. Took that one away from you guys. All right, y'all. I think I'm gonna turn it in for the night. I will be hanging out tomorrow. If you would like your chart, again, it'll go faster. We'll be able to get to the good stuff a lot faster if you go ahead and fill out the form. You can fill out that form right there. And don't let finances stop you, please. Like sometimes it's just fun to hang out. Uh, it's on the 43% of my sun game. I feel you. Like you gotta keep those things charged. Your sun and your Pluto. Sun and your Pluto. Um, so yeah, yeah. So if you want to go ahead and fill out the form so I can get started right away tomorrow when I jump in to do some readings, then that would be fabulous. That would be fabulous. And yeah, and we'll probably do maybe a daytime version. Hopefully, I know I get a lot of internationals. It won't be too late or too early. I get so many people in different time zones. So this may be the best time. This may be the best time. So that may mean I come on a little later. We'll see. You know, I'm so spoiled in my agedness. I'm so spoiled. Yeah, so it's nice chatting with you also. And yeah, and anybody want to go ahead and fill out the form, and you can always, you know, when you get rich, you can come back around. I'll see everybody on the next one. Have a beautiful evening or morning.